Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest Red Leaf Securities podcast. We are very excited to have our latest guest. He's the CEO of Raiz, Brendan Malone. Now, a little background on Raiz before we get into it. I actually use Raiz. I'm a little bit biased. I think it's probably Australia's best micro investing platform out there. It already has 2 billion funds under management, and I believe over 300,000 active users, including myself. And we have Brendan here to talk about it. So, Brendan, how are you?
Great, John. Hey, good to be here. I'm just going to correct you there, mate, because we've got about $2.17 billion of funds under management.
Well, what's a few hundred mil between friends?
And it's good to see you're a user. So we released our quarterly last week, and we have over 347,000 monthly active users. So we've seen some good growth in the last couple of months, but I'm really good to hear that you're still a user, mate, because we haven't spoken for a while.
No, well, we haven't. You're a very busy man. You're Mr. Everywhere. You're all over the place. I see your face everywhere now, which is great to see. So give us the Raiz Invest origin story. How did you get to being over 2 billion funds under management business?
Yeah, look at that. It's a great story, to be honest, mate. And for people that don't know, we actually had a massive we hit a couple of milestones in February, and the first one was our 10-year anniversary. So if I look back a decade ago when we launched, the idea of investing your spare change from everyday purchases or build a diversified portfolio of funds on in the palm of your hands on your mobile phone sounded bold and unconventional, but Raiz solved the problem. We built the business around solving a problem. How do we get everyday Australians into wealth creation, no matter their starting point? And we did that by two core principles. The first one is small amounts consistently add up over time. And as we just said, small amounts. For as little as $5, we break down the barriers. For as little as $5, you're invested. So those small amounts have added up to $2.17 billion now, and 347,000 users. So the first one was small amounts add up over time. The second core principle was the fact that you've got to use technology these days to make everybody's life easier. When I was growing up and when I was a young fella, it was difficult. You had to go to a bank. You had to go to somewhere to set up forms, lodge it, cash transfers, etc. But we leveraged technology to automate the login and the sign up and the download process, but also to create that automated recurring deposit. So you could do $1 a day, $1 a week, $1 a month. Gone to the days where, okay, I get paid today, I've got to go down to the bank and transfer money to another investment account or another savings account. Technology does it for us. So they're the two core principles that we built the business on to get to that 347,000 monthly active users and $2.17 billion of fund.
So in terms of your actual users and consumers as investors, what changes have you seen? Are they putting in bigger dollar amounts? Are they selecting more of a passive investment? Are they picking stock themselves?
Look, that's a good question. And I think too, over that 10 years, if you think about it, the 10-year numbers, they're big numbers, but it's the impact Raiz is having on the everyday Australians. We've had over $244 million reinvested for dividends. To many Australians on average, they would never received a dividend, didn't even know what a dividend was. We've had over $5.2 billion in deposits go through the system. So when we first launched the business 10 years ago, we had 5 portfolios, conservative to our aggressive portfolios, all made up of seven different ETFs, all quoted on the RZI, on the ASX. But as our customers have grown, they've asked us for different products. And that's the important positioning of Raiz, especially now and the milestones that we've hit this year, is we have the tech, we have the infrastructure, we have such an amazing, engaging customer base that tell us what they want. So now, we launched with 5 portfolios, and that was pretty much it. Now we have 9 portfolios. One of those is where you can create and weight your own portfolio, called our Plus portfolio, that has 100 it's pretty much the ASX 100. We have 48 ETFs. We broke down the barriers and the education and the understanding of something like Bitcoin, so you can have up to a 5% of your portfolio invested in hardcore Bitcoin. And then we also, we realised our customers are saying, hey, it's very hard to get on the property market. How do we get exposure to the Australian residential property market? So we have what we call the Raiz Residential Property Fund that now owns 13 residential properties around Australia. So it gives them access to that asset class. So we've continued to innovate our products by listening to our customers. And that's what I'm proud of.
So, given the current market conditions, cost of living crisis, another interest rate rise, what trends have you actually seen? Are your users using more of an opportunity to buy into the property fund, putting more into equity? Are they being more conservative? Where are the flows going?
Yeah, I think, to start with, the average account balance over the last 12 months to the end of March has gone up 18%. The average account balance is now $5,996. That's huge. That's a lot of savings. And I was talking to someone the other day and said, our $2.17 billion, 10 years ago, that was sitting in the sidelines. Now it's in the market working for these customers. I think if you look at things like our Plus portfolio, we've seen it grow year on year 22%. We've seen our kids' jars and kids' portfolios grow 26% year on year. These are all numbers to March. And our jars portfolios, when I break it down, it does stay consistent. Like, a lot of people go into our aggressive portfolio. The property ones are popular. I think our Plus portfolios now has about 49 or pretty much close to 50. We'll round up because we're in the business of round up. So we've got 50,000 people creating and weighting their own portfolio. So it's their choice. We have what we call an upvote section in the app where customers can tell us what they want to invest in. So we take that feedback, we take that knowledge, especially around, go back a couple of months, AI themes. Hack was an important one that came through our customer, the Hack ETF, because people want exposure to cybersecurity. Obviously, the chips of these days. So we listen to what our customers want. And I think if I look ahead, John, and what we announced in our half-year results was where the product's going. And one of those is a US dollar direct trading, because we know that the young millennial or even Gen Z guy will sit there and say, I'm playing on my Apple phone, I'm watching Netflix, I want to drive a Tesla, I want to invest in those companies. So we're listening to our customers, and in the next sort of 6 to 8 months, we'll be releasing Aussie dollar HIN trading. So that gives the wider ASX opportunities to our customers, but then also US dollar trading so they can actually directly invest into those companies.
So, given Rai's phenomenal success over the past 10 years, are you concerned about your competition trying to cut your lunch? So, potentially one of the big banks creating their own version of Raiz, or, those almost zero cost brokers out there. Where's your competition, and how do you defend yourself against that?
I think we've got a pretty strong moat, if that's the right word, around us, because we want to nurture. If you look at our half-year results, there's a nice ecosystem, and it's all about maximizing the lifetime value by making life easier for our customers, giving them the opportunity to create wealth no matter the starting point. And then it's important, as a customer grows up, we put the right products in front of them. So I think our UX UI, the way we have listened to our customers, we continue to do that. That's a powerful moat in itself. What does keep me awake at night is the AI. But if you look at Raiz, and it's spelled RAIZ, we've had AI in our name. We use it a lot, and we continue to bring it to both the back office in the old world and the user experience and front end to make sure our customers stay with us because of that. And cybersecurity, obviously, etc. It is putting the right product in front of the right customer at the right time. That's powerful.
It sure is. Now, the biggest segment of your business right now is superannuation. Is that where the growth will continue to come from, or are you looking elsewhere?
Look, it's an important part of the business due to the higher balances and the fees, but it's not. So if I look at it, we've got about at the end of March, it was 437, I think, $438.8 million of the 2.1, but it is growing. That superannuation fund's growing 25% year on year. The customer numbers are growing that same sort of, I think the number of super portfolios are up 14% year on year. Our overall active customer numbers are up about 5% year on year. So it is a slower burn, but it will be a big part of the business because, and our customers have asked for it. They said, "Hey, you've got Raiz Invest here. Here's my investing portfolio. Why do I have to go somewhere else to see my super balance?" So we bring the two of them together, and now we'll have Raiz Super. You have Raiz Invest. You'll have Raiz Super, and now you have your own sort of portfolio in there as well through the Aussie dollar and the US dollar HIN. So it's bringing it all back into one place. I still think there's a lot to go on our superannuation.
So, Brendan, in 12 months' time, what would success for Raiz look like, in your opinion?
I think, I've got a few North Stars out there for sort of 3 years. So we sort of break them back and have some sort of key milestones that we want to hit. And, our biggest metric is our customer numbers. I think there's still a lot of massive opportunity there. If you look at it so there's two channels to get new customers. It is the new customers out there. And I think the ASX has put a number out about 3 years ago. There's 1.3 million online investors. We've got 347,000 of them. So I think there's growth there, but it's also in our existing customer base. So we've got over 750,000 customers that have been KYC'd on our platform and receive our weekly newsletter. So it's getting that re-engagement too. I'd love to improve those stats. And then, so for me, it is, if we build these products, we want our customers to use them. So what I want to do is make sure that the cross-sell's right, and that'll be a big key milestone for us, or it'll define whether we've done the right thing or not, because active customers, product suite drives that ARPU. And, I'm pretty proud of the 14.1% year-on-year growth of our ARPU. That's sitting at about $86, $86.61, I think it was. For me, I want that to be $100.
Yeah. I believe you'll get there.
Yeah.
So, mate, I appreciate your time. I actually encourage everyone that actually listens to this podcast to, get your kids to jump on the app so they can learn to hit the investment game, and save. I think it's such a fabulous tool. Like, when I buy my morning coffee, I feel a little bit less guilty when I top up on the Raiz app.
Yeah. Well, John, when I was talking about those big numbers, even our Raiz Rewards platform, we've had $9.75 million reinvested into our customers' portfolios. So if you go to, and I use the dog, Piper, she needs dog food. So I use one of our partners on the app. I hit the logo, I go to their website, I buy, and I get the cash back into it. And that cash back, instead of going into my bank account where I can spend it, goes straight into my portfolio for future growth. A powerful, mate.
Great.
Small amounts consistently add up.
Mate, it all adds up. It's all about compounding, and it all adds up over time. Mate, thank you again. Enjoy your day, and congratulations.
John Redleaf, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Mate, cheers.